Hey guys, Ryan from Fluid Focus here. I thought I'd walk you through a quick video on how to install our Grip X2 piston and tune kit. Let's dive in. Alright, I'm going to try to do this video as if you were somebody doing it at your house. Maybe you don't have all the proper suspension tools. You really should be clamping this in shaft clamps. Fox shaft clamps, but for this part you can definitely put it in a vise on this wrench flat right here. Be really careful because these two areas will separate, and that's not good. So you basically want to take off the top cap from the damper tube and either hold it on a vise with the wrench flats, or if you have the shaft clamps, which would be ideal, clamp up here with your shaft clamps and then unthread the top cap. Sometimes the top caps can be quite tight. A small-ish breaker bar is your best friend, and a 28mm socket. And then get your drain pan ready below, and pull the top cap and assembly out. Dump out your oil. I would not recommend clamping back here for this next part because, like I said, the damper tube can come unthreaded from this piece, and it's really hard to get them back together. Ideally, you have some shaft clamps. Always clamp on the part that is furthest away from the seal head, so clamp down here. That way, if you accidentally pinch something when this thing is cycling in its travel, you're most likely not going to get it all the way up to the place where it's pinched. So clamp this thing in the vise, and then you want to unthread the seal head. This thing's been taken apart a million times, so it shouldn't be too tight on the seal head. Make sure your shaft clamps are clean, and if they slip, you want to use some heat to break free the seal head.
All right, now that you got your top assembly out of the fork, grab your 28mm socket, grab your 12mm socket, and then you want to crack open the nut here on the bottom. And then lay your parts out accordingly. All right, so here you have your wave spring. When you ramp up high-speed compression, basically this spring is pushing this plate up against the high-speed shim stack and restricting oil flow. So at this point, you basically, I'm not going to tell you the tune right here, but when you buy the kit, it comes with a bunch of different tunes, and we can help you pick the tune to start with according to your weight, your bike, and skill level. But basically, when now you would reassemble the tune, small shims go against the bottom of the post, build your stack up, and then you want your piston. There is a counter bore on this piston. The counter bore goes against the nut. The nut fits in the counter bore, which gives you room to go around the check spring. So counter bore side does not go against the shim stack. You want the flat side of the piston against the shim stack. And your check shim. Then the nut with the wave washer. Don't pinch the check spring when you tighten this thing together, and then follow the torque specs on the Fox rebuild sight, but it's 20 inch-pounds on this nut. So again, use your 28 mil socket, your 12 mil socket, and then you torque this nut down to spec. One really important thing to check for is once you get this nut torqued, you want to be able to lift up on the check spring to make sure it's not caught, because you really need this thing to seal and then open up when it needs to. And then for this next part, you got your rebound assembly here. You can lightly clamp this whole assembly on these flats in a vise if you have proper shaft clamps, which we do, but I've also found that it's easier to work with this whole assembly a lot lower and close to you. But if you're going to clamp in clamps, you want to clamp down here, which again is away from the part that the shaft is always cycling through. So lightly clamp this here in a vise. And then this already has our piston kit installed, just from us tuning, but normally yours is going to have a red low-speed piston, which is stock on the stock damper. You can use Knipex pliers to unthread it, but you don't have to hold the VVC adjuster, but it will spin on you, so I like to hold it with the 10 mil open end wrench. And then you can either use Knipex pliers or a 15 millimeter socket for our piston. All right, so really on yours you would be unscrewing the red rebound piston from the stock Fox damper. Unthread this guy, set it aside, and then this is should be a 2.5 mil Allen wrench on this screw right here on the VVC adjuster. I'm going to unthread this guy. And once you get the screw loose, you can grab your high-speed adjuster, put it on the bottom of the fork, and then spin your adjuster, which will unthread this VVC adjuster off of the piston assembly. Once you get it high enough, then you can just unthread it by hand. Take off the adjuster, take off the leaf spring, take off the VVC piston, and then here you just have the high-speed mid-valve piston, which houses your high-speed rebound shim stack and your high-speed compression shim stack. Now at this point you can use a cone wrench to unthread the piston from the tap. Alright, and this is a 15 mil cone wrench. Find the wrench flats on this piston, and then you can unthread it. On the stock setup, you'll have a slightly different shim stack here, but just remove that, and then you can install our kit. Alright, so once you get to this point, you can use your cone wrench to hold the piston on the wrench flats. And now this is a complete hack way to do this, but if you're somebody at home who doesn't have all the right tools, this is how you're going to get it done. We do have the proper tool from Fox to take off this assembly, but if you don't have that tool, you can put the piston back on. You catch the little pin in there on the slot on this little screw. You can use your non-marring pliers or Knipex, and you can unthread that upper assembly. Again, if you have the proper tools, you use the proper tools, but this is how you're going to do it. If you don't, then this is the rebound stack on this side of the piston. The smaller holes are always going to be rebound side, and then the larger holes will always be compression. Our kit will come with about 3 compression tunes. This side, this side. 3 rebound tunes and then 2 bass valve tunes. In this video, I'm not going to go through all the tunes, but follow the tune sheet that comes in the kit. Rebound stack goes on the smaller ports, and then your compression side goes on the larger ports. You want to do the rebound side first, so you'll put your rebound shims on this nut, smallest to biggest, and then find your smallest 3 holes. This will thread on to the compression side, which you don't want to do. If you do it wrong, it'll still cover. So definitely make sure you got the right side. So the side with the 3 smallest holes, you're gonna thread this assembly back in, and I'm gonna assume at home you don't have this orange tool. So in this case, grab the piston with your 15 mil cone wrench, again Knipex pliers, and just snug this up. Unfortunately, if you don't have this piston, torque values will affect your tune, but if you're mechanically inclined, snug it up. Don't go too tight, obviously not too loose. Again, this is the hack way of going about it, but if it's your only way, it's your only way. So ideally you grab this tool, part number 398-01-168, and you do it the proper way and you torque it with this piece. Once you get your rebound stack on, then you're going to put your compression shim stack on with the spring first, and then our tune sheet will tell you which orientation to go, but spring first, then build your stack, and then you can slide on this the mid valve piston all the way. You want to make sure once you get to the bottom, make sure that your shims aren't stuck, nothing's pinched. You can just slightly rotate the shims. We run a little bit of float, which is called out on that sheet. So you can basically take your 15 mil cone wrench, snug up the piston. It's not pinching the shims, so you can bottom it out all the way. Slightly rotate the shim stacks to make sure it's not caught. And then either you can use a shim or you can use feeler gauges and make sure you have enough float, which is called out on our tune sheet. That looks to be good right there. You want it just snug, and you hit the post, but not too snug. So that looks to be good there. This is tight, and then after that you can put on the VVC piston. The little dowel, little pin, goes into the slot on the top nut here. Then the leaf spring. The leaf spring. Then the adjuster. This thing is kind of clocked. You can really, this is kind of hard to show, but you can kind of catch it in any direction. It doesn't necessarily matter. Probably easiest if you, I don't know, kind of go on the side like that. But anyways, you get this thing on here, thread this thing down, maybe, there you go. I got lucky there where the leaf spring kind of fell into its groove, but you might have to finagle this leaf spring to catch the right orientation on this adjuster. You can't spin this adjuster around anymore because it's hitting the pins or the stops on the piston. So you grab your high-speed adjuster and hold it on the bottom of the fork or the damper shaft where it goes. Tighten the adjuster, which is going to spin the threads, which is going to tighten the VVC down onto the piston, like so. And then Fox does have this nice little, I don't know, tuning fork deal. It has different ramps. You can't really see in this video, but the ramps go up. The closer it gets to the handle, the thicker it is. Our tune sheet has a call out for which thickness to use, so you'll have to use some micrometers to mic the step you need, and then you want to basically insert it above the leaf spring and below the set screw, I guess you want to call it, and then you want to get to the point to where it's called out on the tune sheet. So find the thickness that you need, and then make sure that you run it in and it snugs up right where we tell you to, and then you want to lock down that little set screw. Now that you have your preload set on the leaf spring, you want to tighten down this little screw. There is no torque call out. Basically tighten it till it's tight, and when you go to fully open or fully closed, that this thing has enough force that it's pinching on these threads that these threads don't slip at either end. Basically what you want to look for, or what we're looking for, is at fully open, and I mentioned in a previous video on a shock, but if you're fully open and your leaf spring is bottomed out on these posts, it's going to lock down this piston. So from like one click off, this piston's freed up, and you're actually going to have faster rebound one click closed from fully open. So this is actually my personal fork, so I'm going to run this a little bit looser because I need all the rebound help I can get, just as fast as I can get it, because I don't weigh very much. So nice and free, fully open, and then you want to have a good range. So fully closed, this thing is not spinning. If you're buying our kit online, it's going to come with 3 pistons. They each have a different bleed size, basically large, medium, and small. This being my personal fork, I want all the flow possible with least restriction, so I'm going to go with the biggest bleed. And then that piston replaces the stock red rebound piston. I wish I had one to show you. I think we've got rid of all of them, but the piston is going to thread onto the post. And it's going to bottom out. The torque on this piston that Fox calls out is 15 inch-pounds. So you can grab your 15 mil socket. I found that it's the easiest way to do it, because if you just put this thing in a vise right here, you crank down on this thing to torque it, it's going to spin your high-speed rebound assembly, and the threads can slip within this clamp. So what I found is actually, if you put the adjuster on the bottom here, and you hold the adjuster onto there, and then you can use a wrench and tighten the piston. Or if you're really careful, you can gently clamp your adjuster in the vise to hold it very gently, and then torque the piston to 15 inch-pounds. If you damage something, if you clamp it too tight, that's on you. Just be very, very careful. At this point, we're ready to assemble the damper. If you have shaft clamps, use them. It's much better. Clamp your damper tube upside down in the vise so your working area is closest towards you. It's not way below and down here. If you don't have shaft clamps, which I'll demonstrate right now in the vise, you want to gently clamp on these flats so you can hold the damper, and then you can thread in your seal head assembly. Have this thing gently clamped upside down in the vise. Then what you're going to do is get your rebound assembly, put it in, and then tighten up. So we now have a rebound assembly tight in the damper tube. I did take this thing back apart right here, use some Loctite. Use Loctite. You don't want this thing coming apart on you. But now what you want to do is clamp the tube in the vise on these wrench flats. Gently clamp it there,
and then fill it with your favorite sauce. You've got 2 purge holes right here. You can cover them with your fingers. Pour in your favorite flavor, generally from a fork, 5 weight or less. What we use is called out in the tune sheet, but fill it up basically just above where this piston is going to seat when it's finally torqued down. But get it filled up. Don't look down directly into the tube because it will splash your face. Cycle the damper shaft so I can get a picture. Cycle your shaft to purge bubbles from below the rebound assembly. When you see no more bubbles, and you make sure that your level inside the tube is higher than where this piston is going to sit, you can grab some slick oleum, slick honey, your favorite suspension grease, grease your O-rings, and then gently put this into place. Now it might purge out on you in these holes, so just be careful. You can wrap a rag around this thing and then push into it, catch the threads. And then torque this down to spec. All right, torque on this top cap is 150 inch-pounds. Use some blue Loctite on these threads, lightly clamped here, and then torque it down. The last thing you need to do is put this thing in a bin or a bucket, cycle the shaft to purge the excess oil. It will come flying out of these 2 holes, so be careful where you're standing, and then put the fork back in, damper back into the fork, and you're ready to go. Hope that little tutorial was helpful for you. If you have any questions, comments, put them down below in the comment section and we will get back to you. Feel free to call us, email us with any questions as well. Take care.